Go about your way. Thank you for your service.
I don't want to have to do this job.
But you need a job.
Serial killer.
Nickelback.
Having an affair.
But just do your dream.
What is that smile? That's like a creepy
Jack
serial killer smile.
Just my normal smile. It's the only face I got. What's on the agenda today?
So, hi.
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 We always start with hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Welcome
hi.
in.
Hi.
Of course.
What's on the agenda today? I'm excited. I want to know.
Yeah, because I feel like this is something that's a lot of people are doing now. It wasn't a thing until like maybe the last few years, but it's going through and sort of reinventing yourself when you get to middle age.
Okay.
Because like us, we're in our mid 40s, so apparently we're beyond middle age.
We're on the downhill.
Yeah, we're on
Any moment.
We're on the other side.
Any moment.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's always been this sort of stigma attached to like the midlife crisis and like what that was about. So today we're going to sort of talk about what it kind of really is and how people are really embracing it, and you know how you can actually completely change who you are like halfway through your life, because why not?
My question is that if a woman's perspective, what is a bad midlife crisis in a woman's perspective for a woman?
A bad midlife
Yeah,
crisis?
like, because you had stigma, you know, so that I know what that is for a guy, so what is for a woman?
Well, it's the same thing for women. It's going to be like having an affair or, you know, just, I don't know, lashing out, spending a lot of money, you know, starting to party, like things like that, you know what I mean? Where they're like trying to recapture more of a youth. And the same thing with like men, right? It's like
the
getting
Corvette, the convertible, getting some random tribal tattoos that you never had tribal tattoos. Getting in shape, I'll say, is a good thing, but
like listening to like the popular music that like
Nickelback.
But sort of we've been blessed that we've had a lot of experience with doing things that we love in life. So in terms of our careers, so you know, but at the same time, we also are constantly going through and switching things up in our, you know, sort of career life and just the way that we live our life. And definitely right now we're going through like a big thing, which we're not going to get too into. But I mean, like you went from working in production and like playing music on the side to like full on being a touring musician to full on not being a musician and just, you know, going back to production.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle, they say. It's a vicious cycle. You always see these videos now, people's like, no one knows what it feels, how it feels to go from this to this. And it's like, yeah, but you can do both at the same time. And it sucks. Like going from working production and playing, so many people have done this, but if you do anything on the side, but you need a job, you would do a normal job every day, and then when you have time and on the weekends, you do your thing that is supposed that you love and you're passionate about. And if you're lucky enough, you can share that, which I was lucky enough, with a lot of people in a really cool scenario, you know, and then 2 days of that, and then guess what you do? Come home with no sleep and go right back into where you're a peon, little minion, and no one knows or cares, and your dreams are stupid, and you're working for someone else. And it's just like, you do that, you do that. And they're always like, no one understands until you do it. They're like, I'm so proud of you. Like, shut up. You know, it's hard. I get it. It's very hard. And I really still have like I'm very, the word I'm looking, not grateful, but I respect the people that push on and just make it happen, like, and keep going. You've done all that stuff too. Like you have went out and lived a life and have done your photography stuff and been really good at that, and the acting and all these other things you have done. You've lived that life where you had to make a jump.
Yeah, and I was really lucky that I did. You know, I've lived a few lives when it comes to like film and entertainment, and then like my extensive career at HSN, which was like 18 years, which ended, like 7 months ago. And so that was like, okay, now we're gonna have to pivot again, because that was a huge chunk of my income and various things, and a lot of my identity was, you know, wrapped up in that. So, you know, for the last 7 months, it's been a lot of like refocusing and like a reinvention, and you know, and then together we made a decision to make like a big leap, which we're still kind of like working through currently. But at 45, I mean, these are things that like, these are real things that people deal with, whether you are intentionally making a change or not. Maybe you're forced to.
Maybe, yeah, your job
But
shut down or quit, or you got laid off, or something you've done for so long is just not going to work for you anymore.
Right.
It's just not in your cards.
Right.
And you have to make a hard change. And that's where we're different. You didn't have a choice. They're done here, they're moving. You had to go about your way, thank you for your service, kind of thing. Nothing. I made the choice to leave, to try to get my shit together, as they say. Which I don't think that was either here nor there. I don't think I ever have my shit together. How does it feel though when you didn't have the choice? A lot of people go through this too.
Yeah.
This is why I'm asking.
Yeah,
How do you feel?
Well, I was also in a position where it was like I loved. No, I'm not going to say I love my job. I really enjoyed my job to an extent. There were a lot of things about it that I didn't enjoy.
That's most jobs.
So yeah, so for a long time it was like I don't want to have to do this job. But I was never motivated enough to figure something else out. It was always like a safety thing for me. It was a comfort thing. And I know a lot of people are a little afraid to make a change, even if they want to, because they're comfortable. So for me, it was like all of a sudden, and I knew for months it was coming. Like when I got the call that it was all happening, and it was just kind of like, okay, so now I'm no longer in charge of this. Like it's happening. It's something that I was always, kind of wanting to make a change, but now it's like, okay, now I'm really being forced. So I needed that push to really make a change there. And so, yeah, going back to like people that maybe are in a position where they're like, I'm not 100% happy, but I'm not totally miserable. They don't feel motivated to make a difference. You know what I mean? So they just kind of stay in that complacency, that sort of like middle of the road. What did you call it? Purgatory.
Yeah, purgatory.
It's like you just go on. You're like, I guess this is as good as it's going to get, unless something like that out of their control, really pushes them to do something. So, there's just so many positions that people are in at our age that it's like maybe they don't feel comfortable making a change, or they don't know how it's going to be received by their family, by their friends. It's like maybe they've got themselves set up where they're like, cush. And it's like, why would I want to make a change? Even if I'm not terribly happy, like, am I really that motivated to do something about it?
What do you think people should do? Do you think it should change? Like, seriously, like, there's a lot of words being said, and I understand exactly what you're saying, but for someone like me, I've pushed my entire life to play music, and you know what I mean? I've worked really hard, and I've struggled I finally got to do that. I did that. And then sometimes the dream is, you don't see the job within the dream. And you get to do it, and it's cool, but like, it's a job, but it's a really cool fucking job. So there's parts of it you're not going to like, things you don't want to do, no matter how cool your job is. Usually there's parts of it that are going to be stressful, that are going to be, they're going to challenge you, and it should challenge you. That's a big thing. If you love what you do, you kind of got to love the discomfort and the challenge, because to get better, you got to be put on the spot, right? Like, you got to be put on the spot. So what do you think about people that are like, people that were doing what you were doing? They were going to work, but the paycheck was the lure and the carrot. Like, you weren't completely happy. Not all situations, but there's always like, I hate my job. It's payday. Everything's good. Everything 3 days later, I hate my job. Just payday. Yeah. That's what happens with a lot of people.
It does.
Because they're just not completely fulfilled. So what do you think? Is there like a sign of when you should make a change, or is there just like, you kind of got to do your own independent thing?
Everybody's individual. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my gosh, if you're, complacent, you should make a change. Absolutely not. I mean, it's obviously individual, but it's something like in your case, you got to chase your dream. You got to live that, and you saw aspects of it that you were like, this isn't the most awesome part of it, and then you eventually like left. And there are a lot of people that don't get the opportunity to have that experience. So they've been working, in a job maybe that they were told that they needed to have, or they were pushed into scenarios because they felt like that was supposed to happen. It was expected of them, that it was sold as sort of like the dream or whatever, but it wasn't necessarily theirs. So if you're at a point where you're like, okay, well, maybe I have some time to pursue this, or maybe I have the finances to be able to support this, like, because you're never going to know if you are going to, love it or not unless you do it. And of course, when it comes to anything, you're not going to love every single thing about it. There's always going to be something that you're like, oh, this isn't like my favorite part of it, but, comes with the territory or something. But at least having that opportunity, because at the end of the day, you don't want to look back and be like, coulda, shoulda, woulda, right?
Was the quote, or I'll probably mess the quote up because I'm terrible with details, but the quote is to hell is finding out who you could have been and seeing you aren't that person. Or as far as you could have gone and never went there. So yeah, I was always like, I was lucky enough to where something in me, and I hope if anyone has this and they're not exploring it, you need to fucking explore it. If something in me would just told me this was what I was doing, this is what I wanted to do, this was part of me, this is what I need to do, and I just did that. And then you get to do it, and I feel like, obviously for my accountability, there's some better decisions I could have made while I was in it. I could have been more, I really want to do this, I want to take advantage of this, I want to do all this, and I could have made better decisions so it didn't get so mundane, so it didn't get in the situation it got into to where I wanted to leave. Should have never felt that way. That was my own thing I did. So if you're ever, I would just say, if you ever have that thing you want to do, just do it. I tell everybody that. Just do it, because if you're working a job, probably since you've worked that job, you can come back and get a job. But just do your dream. That's like the biggest thing ever, because in the end of the day, that's what you're going to regret the most.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, 100%. So let's talk about why making a change and sort of like a reinvention. Well, we're calling it reinvention, but reinventing yourself like in midlife. Like why is this such a good time to do it? Because it really ultimately like kind of is. Like if there's something you've been wanting to do, or you're not even that there's something in particular that you want to do, but you know there's some things that you were like, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, that like really kind of, this is such a good time to do it.
Well, I think it's good in like our age now. I think because you're just a lot more, you should be financially stable for the most part. You should have more money coming in, more expendable money. You should also be emotionally and like mature now. So when you're younger and a lot of these things come on, you'll let your emotions get in the way, or you get frustrated, or you won't, be able to manage what you have to do with what you want to do and what needs to be done. It's one or the other a lot of times, when you're younger. So I think when you're older, you've learned to like, okay, this has to be done in order for me to get where I want to be. So then you can do that, and you can kind of climb through the scary parts easier. That's just my opinion of it. If I was right now, if you were like, I want you to do what you want to do, and I would already know, like, okay, I need to do, first I got to do this, I need this much money to do this, to gather this, and I would understand it's a time frame of steps. What about you? Why do you think now's the time?
I think you have a point to, hopefully you're a little bit more, you have a little bit better financial literacy, not necessarily that you have a lot of money, that you kind of have a little bit better idea of the scope of like what things cost to start things, and how much you need to float yourself in the interim before things take off, that kind of stuff. I think that definitely emotional maturity and just your wisdom and knowledge that you have with the 20 plus years that you've lived since your 20s, will definitely like take you so much farther. Because I think when you're in your 20s, you just kind of wing it. You don't really know what's going on. You're, just sort of like, I'm just going to try it and do this and do that and see what works. And, or maybe not. Maybe, in your 20s, you were like straight, narrow path, one thing only, and didn't give yourself time to explore what you're really interested in. So this is like, now is the time to really actually explore, like what really does make me tick, But also, I think that just the age that we're in now. So when we were in our 20s, like we turned 20 in 2000. So just to date us a little bit, but when we were in our 20s, like starting a business online was not a thing.
Well, yeah.
Finding information, like not at all. Yeah. Like internet was a baby still. So it was like all the opportunities that we have right now. Like we didn't have Shopify or Stan Stores or Chat GPT or any of the things. Like none of Square. Like building a website back in the early 2000s. Like stop it.
Yeah.
I witnessed. Like stop it. So everything is so much more accessible now. So if you're at that point where it's like, what, I always wanted to do this, and now this thing I really wanted to do is like so much more accessible. Like, absolutely. Like now's the time. Like strike while the iron is hot, as they say. You know what I mean? Like don't put it off any longer. Like why would you put it off any longer? And so I think that's why it's so it is becoming so much more popular now because of the accessibility of things in terms of just opportunities for everyone.
Yes.
So why not us? When we're at such a great age, I feel like we get a little bit of that, like, oh, you guys are old, like you don't know what's relevant or this, that, or the other. I don't think that's true, and I definitely think that our perspective is definitely still worthy and worthwhile. We have a great perspective, so why not use that? Because I feel like it's underutilized a lot of times. So what do you think about that?
I love that. I think the last part's really important. And as we become older, we think that younger people are ignorant and have no idea what they're talking about. But the younger people think we have no idea and we can't relate. So one of the bigger things is if you can drop all that and really talk to the younger people, see what's just not like what's your favorite pop bands, like just get to know like what's really going on like in the world, like what's going on, like what is like new technology, what is new trends, and then you can learn that from them. And if the younger people can start talking to the older generation to be like, what mature things did you learn? What things can you help me with life things? Because that's what you get when you get older. You learn actual life stuff. Because when you're older, you don't know. When you're younger, you do not know that you got to handle all these things all the time, every single day, and they don't go away. You learn how to handle stress, how to handle situations that you've never touched yet when you know what I mean? Like as you get older, you get in some real life shit that you did not get in. Most people don't get in when they're younger. Does that make sense? So you learn how to hold it. So if everybody conversates, I feel like we'll learn a lot more. That's my opinion of that. As far as I 100% agree with you with the internet and stuff. And nowadays it is a lot easier to just start a business instantly in 10 minutes and online and figure it all out and do everything, bank accounts, websites, everything super quick. I can't do that. I'm not good with computers. This one here is the whiz kid with all that stuff. So we have our parts we play, very much so, which is great because I wouldn't be able to survive without you. So I'm glad you're here. But with that being said, also, if you're trying to start anything new or trying to do anything, if it's trying to reinvent yourself and have fun, you can get in that scene really easy now too. Like with YouTube and on any social media, if you like old school Teletubbies, or you like any of the anime stuff, or you like video games or music, you can go on and find thousands and thousands of videos and things and people to talk to and all that. It's a lot. This world's gotten a lot smaller. So that makes it way better, way easier. When we were young, you had to find somebody, a person, and talk to them, and that's awkward a lot of times.
Yeah.
So now you can like hit somebody up, get some stuff going, makes it a lot easier. I believe people should definitely explore just any avenue they want to. But with all this being said, there's nothing wrong with loving your job and being happy where you are and doing that. So it's not like everybody needs to do this. If you're content, your family's taken care of, you're taken care of, you like your job, which I was raised that wasn't a thing. You had to hate your job, you know what I mean? So if you like your job and things are good, sometimes sit down, have a cup of coffee, and just look at how good your stuff is.
Yeah, and then you can watch videos like this where we're talking to people that hate their jobs and be like, well, that's not me.
Yeah, a lot of people struggled and did crazy shit when they were younger too. Yeah. So now they're just chilling. And I think that the time frames swap a lot.
Yeah.
So I think if you were someone that was kind of like us, where in our younger days we were a little bit black sheep crazy, and now we're kind of like figuring it all out, even though we still do all kinds of stuff because we're still figuring it out. Figure we don't have a clue, and a lot of people don't know what they're doing. We're just winging it.
Yeah.
We're just riding a gator down the river. Right? So yeah, that's my opinion of it. I think it is a good time. If you feel like it's time to change and make a change, you should make a change. What do you always say about the body changing?
It changes every 7 years. You're a whole new person every 7 years. So keep that in mind. Your cells completely turn over every 7 years.
That's your skeleton, right? And then your skin is like 5 and your skeleton is 7. So in 7 years, everything in your body is different. So,
yeah, and I feel like evolution is just part of life. It's part of life. Figuring out who you are, learning new things, trying new things, exploring. Like, absolutely. Like we're just here for a short time and should really be trying to enjoy it as much as possible.
Yeah, enjoy it. And no one else is going to go with you when you go. So you're the only one's going to have to live with the regret at the end of it if you make any, right? If you have any.
Well, that got deep and dark.
That wasn't dark. Motivational.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you have anything that you want to hear or see from us, any particular videos, please let us know. Leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you. And we will see you in our next video.